A man in New York City has attacked a group of police officers with a hatchet. We're going to show you a snippet of the video and then give you all the details. You're seeing there the man running up, two-handed grip on a hatchet. Obviously, that's extremely scary there. You can't see the man very clearly. He appears to have a fairly full beard. He's described as being around 32 and having dark skin. Now, he came up on a group of 4 police officers who were posing for an independent photographer who wanted to take their picture. He attacked them. He hit one of the police officers in the arm and then another police officer in the back of the head. That police officer is in critical condition.
Oh, so priceless. We are seconds into the video and my intelligence has already been insulted with this absurd titling of the video. Take a look at what these politically correct, Muslim apologizing people over the Young Turks have called this video. They're going with, hatchet-wielding man was a recently religious loner. I mean, they are literally sprinting away from the issue here, trying to distance themselves as much as humanly possible from the real issue, which is Islam. The ideas that are fundamental to Islam, that inspire actions that are egregious, terrible things such as this over and over again. And they are running and hiding from it. How? By calling it religious. What the fuck do they mean religious? Let me guess. Is this a Mormon? Was this a Jewish guy? Was this an Amish guy? Oh, so ambiguous. Such mystery. Such a thick mystery in the air as to which religion this guy was. I would honestly bet my life on it. I would bet my life I could tell you what religion this guy was. And they think they're fooling somebody by zooming back out, saying, no, let's not say it's Islam, let's just call it religion. So in other words, when there's a shark attack off the coast of California and some surfer gets eaten to death, the news report for that story is not aquatic animal strikes again. News update, surfer gets eaten by aquatic life form. How disingenuous and journalistically retarded is it to not report on the facts, on the reason? It wasn't a jellyfish that consumed this man. It wasn't a guppy. It was a great white shark, just like it has been time and time and time again. And maybe if we can sort of dig deeper and think, there seems to be something about these great white sharks, and it's something in their nature. There's something going on here that they are the ones that continually pose a physical threat and are committing acts of violence against surfers. No. It's an aquatic life form. Don't be racist. Don't harp on one species of shark. That's ridiculous. Okay? Look, in the water, there's other aquatic life forms that kill. So don't single out great white sharks. I mean, for God's sakes, there's piranhas in the Amazon who are nipping at the feet of tourists. And there was a stingray. Stingray killed the crocodile hunter. Okay, so just recognize the fact that you have piranhas nipping at heels, you got stingrays, and you have great white sharks. Now, they all inflict damage, so let's not try to look at numbers, and let's not factor in numbers. Let's not live in reality. Fucking ridiculous. And also, I love this. He's a loner. He's a loner? How did they get that? He's a loner who happens to be connected to the doctrines that are believed by 1.6 billion people around the planet. So he's alone with these other people. He's not a loner at all. He's tied into a belief system that is adopted by billions of people. Okay, the guy was doing Google searches for jihad against police. He was a fan of ISIS. He was a Muslim. The man believed in the doctrines of Islam. He believed in heaven. He believed in martyrdom. He believed in global jihad. He followed the instruction of the Islamic State. He did what they wanted him to do, which is the entire point. Awful, hideous ideas, such as the ones expressed in the Quran, such as the ones that are adopted and believed by millions and millions of people, as Pew and Gallup have illustrated to us, without any shadow of a doubt. These ideas manifest in reality by scumbag losers like this adopting them and then acting out based upon them. So let's see how the Young Turks address this.
We do have a little bit of information about the man, though. He's identified in the U.S. media as Zale Thompson, and he's apparently posted an array of statements on YouTube and Facebook that display a hyper-racial focus in both religious and historical contexts and ultimately hint at his extremist leanings. And perhaps even more worrying, Thompson had posted on a pro-Islamic State video on September 13th, 2014. He described jihad as a justifiable response to the oppression of the Zionists and the Crusaders. Now, after attacking the police officers, he was shot and killed on the site. And so they can't question him, of course, but they are finding some information from his previous internet postings.
Okay. Let's see how a guy whose entire family is Muslim, cousins, grandparents, parents, you name it, comes from a country and is very proud of his Turkish descent. And he has stories to tell you of the great Ottoman Empire. Oh, it was an illustrious empire. And Cenk is the product of this empire. These guys, I mean, if you need some Armenians killed, you know who to call. These guys get the job done. How do you think this guy is going to address a situation where you have a young man with a hatchet, active in the Islamic community, active in the jihadist community, totally inspired by, influenced by, and acting under the specific doctrines that Islam promotes? How do you think Cenk will spin this? Will he do the appropriate thing, which is to unequivocally condemn everything about this guy and everything about the beliefs that inspired this guy's actions? Cenk, let's hear that condemnation, and I want to hear the gravity in your voice as you describe the sober and dark reality of the Muslim tenets of martyrdom and jihad as they acted out in this ugly, horrific way with this guy, this Muslim in America this week. Go.
So, of course, this is the moment when everybody goes, aha, we told you, it's the Muslims, right? Well, no, everybody thinks that they're so brave when they call out Muslims. Like, wow, how bold, right? But no, I told you, it's the fundamentalists. Okay, if you want to call a spade, this guy is both a Muslim and a fundamentalist. The relevant part is not that he's Muslim, because there are millions of Muslims in the country who are not doing hatchet attacks. There are hundreds of thousands of Muslims in the tri-state area who are not doing hatchet attacks. So the defining characteristic here is not that he's a Muslim, it's that he is a fundamentalist, right?
Cenk tries to distance this guy even further by labeling him a fundamentalist, as if he's completely oblivious to the fact that there are hundreds of millions of fundamentalist Muslims who believe in Sharia law, who want Sharia law, who believe in the doctrines of jihad. That's not fundamentalism. He's trying to label this as some extremist fringe, and it's not. And then he tries to spin around and turn the blame on us. Oh, here's where people say, it's a Muslim. Yeah, this is the great takeaway, Cenk. It's our problem. Sorry, Cenk, for acknowledging and recognizing the explicit reason that this guy just did this heinous thing. Sorry, yeah, my bad. I think I'm being bold because I'm recognizing the truth of the situation. Fucking ridiculous. The fuck does this guy doing? And then he turns around and talks about the non-hatchet wielding Muslims? Are you kidding me? That is your reaction to this? So when there's a shark attack again and another surfer is killed, are you really going to get on the air and say, what about the millions of sharks that aren't attacking surfers? That is the most fucking infantilely ludicrous statement. What are you doing? We get it. Your mouth is firmly wrapped around the cock of Turkey and Islam and your entire family and your entire identity. We get it. But don't get on the air and expose this ridiculous bias you have on a fucking weekly basis. Right. Let's talk about the non-problem people. Anybody with any degree of sense or dignity or morality has pointed out to you in the recent weeks that the facts on the ground are that there are millions of people who follow the doctrines of Islam, who commit violent acts due to these doctrines, and we condemn them for it. Then there are millions upon millions more who condone these acts. And then there are a whole set of different ideas, each one more ridiculous and barbaric and primitive than the next, that all should be condemned and that are believed in deeply by hundreds of millions of Muslims. This armada of peaceful Muslims that you talk about, they don't exist. And also, they're not the point. If your grandmother is basket weaving in Istanbul, that's not who we're fucking talking about. We're talking about the guy with the hatchet or the guy in Canada who's shooting random people for no reason other than the fact that he's called to do that by jihad and for religious inspired reasons. We're talking about the problem. And you want to not talk about the problem. So if I give you a glass that has poison in it and say, Cenk, fair warning, you might want to watch out for the poison in the glass that I just gave you, you're not going to say, yeah, Devin, but there's a lot of air in the glass. I mean, you're not talking about the air. The glass is 90% air. You're sitting here telling me about the arsenic. Okay, you have a thing about arsenic. Oh, it's very bold of you, Devin. Yeah, you pointed out there's arsenic in the glass. Right. Well, just keep in mind there's air in the glass too, so have a little perspective. Fucking stupid.
So this guy wants to do jihad, and he wants to get the Crusaders. I don't know which century he's in, right? And so he's a radical, and obviously anybody with a hatchet, right?
No, he's not a radical. He's not just a radical. He's a radical Muslim. He's somebody who was explicitly following. He was going on videos. He's talking about the new caliphate. The guy wants to start a new caliphate. He went out in a completely unglorious blaze of stupidity in an attempt to wreak havoc, cause terror. The man was a Muslim terrorist, plain and simple. I mean, you don't have people waking up in the morning and just doing this. Regular people who don't have these ideas, these religiously inspired ideas, wake up and decide to do this with their lives. It just doesn't happen. Now, this is the time where you point out, oh, well, what about X, Y, or Z? What about this outlier and this one situation, this anecdote? And that's just more bullshit from the other side. Just a never-ending, constant stream of bullshit and excuses. So I say, oh, well, there's global jihad. There's non-stop terrorist acts. There's Muslims doing unthinkable things on a constant basis around this world. And he points out, well, remember that shooter in Arizona? That kid who shot up everybody in the parking lot? Well, he wasn't a Muslim. Oh, okay, well, thanks, Cenk. I'm going to pack it up now. I'm going to go home. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Drive home safe, everybody. We're done here. Islam is perfectly fine. Cenk pointed out that there was a murderer in Arizona that wasn't a Muslim. So thanks, guys. There's probably other reasons. Probably culture, probably military, whatever. Sorry. My fault.
And so that's the case here. We have another lunatic who happens to be a religious lunatic attacking the cops.
Happens to be a religious lunatic. What kind of fucking insanity is this guy? Thick-headed. Fucking, what is in that bloated head of yours? Unbelievable. It doesn't happen to be a religious guy. Look at him trying to deflect again. He's not just religious, Cenk. Doesn't happen to be religious. He's Muslim. He's a Muslim. He is a follower of a set of beliefs at the heart of which is the idea of converting people by the sword. Okay, he literally took a form of a sword, a hatchet, and did the exact thing that their savior, Muhammad, shit be upon him, called for him to do. This is what you get when you follow a pedophile warlord. This is what happens. Okay, and you have jihad, you have martyrdom. Fast forward, shake it all up like it's a snow globe, and this is what you get. So no, it doesn't happen to be a religious guy. That is fucking crazy. No, people happen to have mustaches. Okay, Stalin and Hitler had a mustache. They happened to have a mustache. The reason you would say that is because the mustache was not a reason for them to do the actions that they did. That's an appropriate time to say they happened to be something. But when a guy is all about Islam and is posting about it and surfing around and doing Google searches and living by this code of conduct and following the explicit instructions on the violent act he was about to do, that is not happens to be. That is entirely because of. So you had a psycho who, entirely because of the fact that he was a Muslim following Muslim doctrines, did X, Y, and Z. That's the sentence, Cenk, you fucking buffoon.